Hi, my name is Arunima. I graduated from Ashoka University with a degree in Sociology Anthropology and a minor in English in 2024. I did a 3-year UG degree. When I was there, Ashoka offered a +1 year, which was the 4th year, in which you have the option to pursue a postgraduate degree in advanced research and studies. I didn't opt for that +1 because I knew that I'd be pursuing a master's degree where I didn't need a 4-year UG degree. And now under NEP, that +1 year has become accommodated within the overall UG degree. So students have the option to graduate with a BA with honors or without, as per their interests and preferences. Before I delve into my experience with the university, I just want to give a brief outline of how undergraduate studies look like at the university. So there are 9 foundation courses at Ashoka that cover a broad range of subjects, from science to mathematics to philosophy to literature. And within these courses is a course called Introduction to Critical Thinking, which is a course that stood out to me from the outstart. It's a course that emphasizes and teaches academic thinking and academic writing, as well as critical engagement with texts. It teaches you basic formats like APA, MLA, Chicago, and it's a course that you finish within your first year, either your first or your second semester. And so it sets you up to engage with further courses that you will take in an academic and a critical fashion in a very systemic way that is easy to understand. And this stood out to me because at the time particularly there were not a lot of universities that were offering a concrete course that taught students these much needed skills, and I really appreciated my experience with that course because it really gave me a lot of clarity in how to write my assignments and formulate my thoughts as I did my readings and I attended my lectures. The foundation courses also give you quite a broad base of knowledge across disciplines, and this is particularly good for students who have curiosity for disciplines and subjects that are not their intended major or their minor, or for students who want to explore a few other disciplines before committing to a particular major or to a particular degree. And that's also something that was quite unique about Ashoka at the time, was that there was no need to immediately commit to a particular subject. You did have time and space to experiment and to switch your major or to switch your discipline with a fair amount of ease as per your developing interests and passion. The application process, very quickly, it's 3 stages. There's first a form that you fill out. It asks for basic details like test scores, whether it's CUT, SAT, or other test scores that they accept, as well as questions that are intended to understand who you are as a person. So they'll ask you about your co-curriculars, they ask you about your interests, about hobbies that you pursue even non-competitively. And this was also interesting because again, not a lot of universities cared to understand a student or know a student beyond numbers, and so this was their attempt at a more holistic application process and sort of geared towards understanding students in a multidimensional way. The second step is an aptitude test, and this covers the usual tests of logical reasoning and English comprehension and mathematical ability, as well as on-the-spot essay writing, which was a little different from a lot of other tests. And the final stage is an interview, which is more like a conversation. At least in my experience, it felt more like a conversation because, again, they want, through that interview, the key is to understand who you are and what your passions and interests are as a student. There's no formula as such for the interview. There are no set number of questions or specific questions that require specific answers. People have had different questions asked to them in their interviews. Your experience really depends on the application that you've sent in and the qualities that you've shown them. And the interview is just geared to understand that better and to understand what you want through your 4 years at the university. So coming to what drew me to Ashoka while I was going through my application process, as I've mentioned a few times, particularly at the time that I was applying around 2021, 2020, Ashoka offered a pedagogy that was really unique. Its liberal arts approach meant that it really wanted to inculcate within students a broad understanding of not just the major that you want to pursue, but also other disciplines. And liberal arts doesn't just mean just the arts subjects. It also introduced you to math, science, physics, basic biology, so on. And that was new to me. I didn't know that there were a lot of universities that were offering that. And particularly when I was applying, I wanted the option to explore a little bit more different disciplines and different ways of understanding the world. And so that was something that was really attractive and appealing to me. It also just felt like a more engaged and vibrant atmosphere based on what a few alumni testimonies told me, as well as in brief engagements with admission counselors and so on. The professors, the teaching assistants, the students, it all just felt like a community that was engaged with each other and cared for each other, and that was something that was quite appealing to me. So finally, a few of the highlights of my experience from the 3 years that I spent there. One of the top sort of takeaways that I had was just how much every professor that I had cared for every student and what each student took away from their course. They wanted every student to engage with the material. They reached out to every student. They asked that every student, read and pay attention in class, but also speak up and express their opinion, their perspective. There was a great emphasis on there's no right or wrong answer, but we want you to at least think and express what you are thinking. And that was really refreshing to see. There was also, even in larger classes, even in foundation courses, there was a lot of emphasis on discussion and on students talking to each other and talking to the professor. Particularly within my degree, Sociology and Anthropology, as well as literature. I mean, a lot of it is based on your own interpretations and your understanding of the text you're reading, what you think a particular text might mean. And so that really allowed me to not just connect with my peers and sharpen my intellectual abilities, but it also allowed me to find my own voice and to be able to be confident in speaking my thoughts, my opinions, to feel confident in my own interpretations of texts, but also that extended to being more confident within myself and my expression. There's also just campus life was also extremely fun, engaging. Clubs are a big part of Ashoka life. There's clubs for everything from baking to coding to finance, photography, dance, music. There's a club and a society for everything. There are events happening across the academic calendar. There are fests happening that are great fun to be a part of, whether as a member or as just participating. And yeah, lastly, I just really appreciated, and I'm still, as I continue my master's journey, I'm really grateful for that foundational 3 years where I engaged with some of the best academics from the field that I studied within. And yeah, my 3 years there have continued to serve me in many, many ways as I continue my journey.